Hello, everyone. Welcome to this SASE MSP call for, where are we? Are we in March already? We are. We're a little light today on folks, and I think that's because, well, I know that's because a lot of people are at Andrew's event, right? Boom. So I will be hosting the SASE call this week with our amazing team right here, Liran, and I see Connor and Ben. So, it's going to be, I'm going to start with some marketing stuff. We have a couple things to talk about, and then we'll open it up to you guys if you want to talk. We may not go the whole hour. If we do, great. If we don't, also great. All right, so I'm going to kick it off. Let me share my screen because I did make an agenda. You can probably see everything there, right? Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
All right, so in marketing, in marketing this week, the big news is that the SASE report is out. You should have gotten the email about that on Wednesday morning. If you didn't, I will share it with you. Oops. Have you guys had a chance to look at it? Partners. Has anybody had a chance to look at it yet?
No.
No. All right, we'll take a look. I know Jim's going to do a deeper dive into it. There will be a webinar. I believe it's on the 20th. I'm still setting everything up, but I know he's going to talk about it on probably next week's SASE call as well. For you. Hey, oh, can you see it? Oh, no, that's a screenshot. Sorry. Sorry about that. I'm trying to work with too many things. Oh, did that work? That worked, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Link to a PDF, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yep. So check it out. Like I said, I think last week, a lot of this stuff isn't going to be a surprise to you guys because you're here every week. We talk about it a lot. But there are some interesting things that have come out of it that you may not know yet. So definitely check it out. In addition, the token hijacking white label data sheet I have for you. We talked about that before. Let me see if I can attach it. Yeah, I can attach it. Let's see. Some people are waiting to get. Sorry, I'm kind of trying to navigate all of this at once. All right. Pop that in there, and that you can take a look at. It explains token hijacking, how to keep it from happening, and there are spots on the top of the front and on the back where you can put your logo and your contact information. So feel free to use that for your sales materials and marketing enablement. What else do I have? Let's see. We do have a Belext, a webinar with Belext coming up on the 20th. Oh, that's the one that's on the 20th. Sorry, I think the SASE report webinar is on the 19th. We're very busy in March and April, so you're gonna get a lot of stuff from us. All right, let me share this one as well. And go over all that good stuff. And then just a reminder, office hours are next week. So that's the week that Ben and Anthony will be doing their thing. And the other thing I wanted to talk about was where to find marketing materials. I get this question a lot. So I just want to make sure you guys know how to find enablement materials so that you can help sell to your customers or prospects and you're not confused about where to go. So there are a few places. The first place to go would be to your account manager. That would be my #1 recommendation. They will have everything. They will know where to find it. If you don't know who your account manager is, feel free to email us. You can email me, Michelle at SaaS Alerts, info at SaaS Alerts, sales at SaaS Alerts, and we will find out. But you guys should all know who your account manager is, I think, on this call. But if you don't, we will definitely help you out with that. Secondly, just to maybe save some time, we have the materials in channel program under our report PRM. So you can find it there. They've been doing a lot of updating to their systems, and sometimes things get a little wonky. So I went in, I did see some stuff was hidden, which I did fix. So if you try to go in there in the last couple of weeks and you couldn't find our materials, they were hidden for some reason. So I did fix that, and I will be better about going in every week and making sure everything looks the way it should, and keeping it up to date. And the third place that I'm going to start putting things as I do new things, I'm going to put them in that Discord channel, because we seem to have a lot of activity in there. People seem to like it in there. It's easy for me to share things in there. Ben, do you have that URL handy? I knew you did. Thank you. So if you're not on that Discord server, then definitely join us. It's a lot of fun. There's some good channels in there. Are there any questions about marketing materials, where to find them, how to get them, anything like that?
Hey, Michelle, it's Roman. We spoke yesterday actually about this same thing. You mentioned that portal. How do we get there?
Channel programming.
The PM something for marketing materials? Right.
I can send you an invite if the email you gave me is the right email you want to use. Okay, I can send you an invite.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sure. Yep. No problem. Just make a note to do that. And that is it from marketing for the week. If nobody has any other questions. Next, we're going to move on to Amanda. I think, is she on the call? She had.
Yep, I'm here, Michelle.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Okay. I can stop.
Yep, I have a quick update from reports. So let me share my screen. You guys should hopefully see the view reports list now.
Yes.
Okay. So for both the organization vulnerability assessment and the threat mitigation report, in the next week or so, this update will be coming. So I'm in our dev environment. It's not available for production just yet, but wanted to show you guys what's coming out. So for the organization vulnerability report, go ahead and pick your organization and run the report. And then at the bottom, under the Fortify score details section, we have our table of the available actions, licensable actions, and completed actions, with the table column showing you items, score weight, minimal licensing required, and then the framework. And so what we've done is we've actually updated. So the framework now includes whatever framework we are monitoring. Currently it's CIS, but as we add any in the future, this will reference additional frameworks. So you're able to see that now here. You can filter if you're looking for a specific framework item to show to a customer, if you want to use it that way. You can also export this. So if you're trying to show a list of the different framework items that you've completed for somebody, it's now available here and can be exported and shared.
Hey, Amanda,
So
I see a new columns button too.
You see a what?
Columns button? Yeah.
Yeah. So this isn't new. It's been on this report for several months now, but you can, if you say for instance, you aren't planning on really having a framework conversation with a customer and you just don't even want to show them that column, you can actually remove the column. And so therefore you can take up more space with the columns you do want to show and have the conversation you want to have. So in this case, by clicking on that column name that already appeared in the columns button, it removed it. If I click back on columns and I select it again, it'll add it back. So you can dynamically kind of show the data set you want to show. If for some reason you don't need to show the score weight, you just want to have that conversation with them about the item and the licensing or something, you can do that as well. So this is now available on, will be available on the organization vulnerability report at this bottom table and on the threat mitigation report in the middle section of the recommended actions table.
Awesome.
And that's it from me, Michelle.
Great. Anyone have any questions about that? Trying to get in. Good. All right, then Liran, I believe, had something he was going to share as well.
Yes, thanks, Michelle. So what I want to show you guys is that for the first time since SaaS Alerts launched, we have redesigned this screen that we use to connect to applications and connect to organizations. Michelle, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. So this is also in our development environment, and I want to get this out before the end of the quarter. Given how important this screen is to all of us, we want to make sure that we really test this thoroughly. It is very much in active development. So this screen here is exactly what this is the same. But when you add an organization, rather than take you through that wizard type of approach, we're giving you this modal. And let's give this a name, select all groups, and then create an organization. And rather than handle this as sort of a wizard type of approach, we have this kind of dedicated page. You'll have this add an application button. The functionality is exactly what it is today. It's just organized a little bit differently for you. So let's go ahead and add an application. And this is a little bit different as well. We have a slide out drawer that comes out. It has a search box and is intended to make searching and connecting to our various applications a lot faster. Now you'll see that we have, well, a couple things. One is this here is not what I would consider sufficiently visually loud enough. So this button will be turned into a button like this. And when you click on this, we're going to go ahead and connect to Microsoft shortly. But we have two different methods of connecting, and we're still playing with the terminology here. But it's I have the global admin credentials, which is what most of you do. But then there's the secondary option where some of our MSSP clients, and I think I saw Zach in here who can attest to this, that I want my customers to connect themselves. So you can select which applications you want them to connect to. If you don't have the global admin credentials for some reason, or contractually, legally, whatever, you just don't have access to this. So now you can generate the URL. And when you generate the URL, I'm going to stop sharing and resume sharing so you guys can see the full thing. Okay. So I'm going to generate this URL, and notice that I've selected Microsoft Manage and Google Manage. So I'm going to get this URL, open an incognito window. And when I open an incognito window, my customer is only going to get the option to connect to those products that I've chosen to, right? Because we've had a lot of partners come back to us and give us feedback that I just accidentally closed my browser. Give us feedback that they get a lot of questions, like their customers come back to them and say, oh, I have Slack, I want to connect to Slack too. And they have to send them emails and telling them like, no, sorry, we don't monitor Slack right now. So using this type of approach, you don't really need to deal with that, right? For most of you, it's going to be, here's Microsoft, connect to Microsoft. The other bit of feedback that we've gotten from our partner community, right, so you guys, is that when you do this connection, the reason that it's organized in this way, Microsoft and Google, is that after we get this new UI out, we're also working on refactoring the way that we connect to Microsoft. So there's going to be a button here for respond and fortify. And when you connect to respond and fortify, once we release the new Microsoft connection logic, you will have to just connect one time and get connected to all three products. The other thing that we've been asked to do is, if you are connecting to a Microsoft tenant that does not have the audit log turned on, we're going to recognize that, and we're going to ask you or the person who's doing the connection, do you want to turn on the audit log? If they say yes, we'll go ahead and turn that on. And then if you're familiar with creating a Fortify connection, we ask you if you wanted to enable auto updates on the Fortify connection. Depending on your agreements with your customers, that may or may not be okay. But for most of you, you're probably going to select to enable the auto updates. And what that means is, if and when we need additional scopes or permissions for Fortify or Manage or Respond, we can just go and self-update without you needing to contact your customer and say, hey, I'm going to send you a link. I'm going to need you to re-authenticate with SaaS alerts. You're not going to have to really deal with that. once this new backend logic comes out. So the process of connecting to an organization is exactly the way it is today. I am going to connect to Microsoft right now with this account. Pop-up number 2. And I also think that when we do the Microsoft Backend 2.0, you're only going to have to deal with one pop-up, basically for the entire Microsoft connection, including Fortify and Respond. So it should make things even better and faster. So it's spinning. Success toaster. And I'm now connected to Microsoft. And if I want to manage my existing connections, I can just click on this. So same information that we present to you today, albeit a little bit more elegantly. I'll also add that we're working on making the error messages when there's an issue with the Microsoft connection a lot more helpful and a lot more elegant. That is going to come after we redo the Microsoft backend. And when you go and you want to edit an existing connection, for instance, you are going to be presented with this new screen. Connections that are broken will appear in red like this. And if you click on it, you're going to see this error. And I mentioned we are working to improve the error as well as what the solution looks like. So that's what the new UI is going to look like. I'd love to see what you guys think. Do you think it's better? Do you think it's worse? Just what's the, and if you have any questions as well.
I seem to like it in the chat, but I'd love to hear from some people.
I love it, Liran.
Not you, Ben. Just...
Well, Ben, most of what we do is for you, so I'm glad you like it.
Definitely a great upgrade. I think once we start flowing with it on a day-to-day basis, we'll kind of get a little more feedback.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Very cool.
Do you got...
Oh, sorry, Roman had a question. He wants to know, can we onboard clients via the mobile app?
Good question. Adam's here. I don't think the
Not
answer
yet.
is...
Yeah, the only thing that we're doing in the mobile app at the moment is displaying alerts and also allowing you to approve and decline respond actions, as well as push notifications to let you know that you have respond actions that need to be handled. But I think as more and more folks start using the mobile app and start requesting features and functionality and things, I could see more and more functionality being moved into it.
So do you guys see yourselves using the I want my customer to connect themselves option more regularly now that you can control what it is that they can see? And once we release the initial the additional updates, where they'll also be able to do respond here and Fortify, do you see you guys using this more, or do you still see using the global admin credentials and doing it on your own?
For us, it's a mixture. When we control admin access, it's great to do it ourselves, but we have a couple of customers that we just sell them licenses, but we don't have admin access to their environment. So like two of them, actually, we're not taking advantage of all the modules, because when we did a share screen to connect them so they can do the connection, sharing the screen with us, all the modules weren't out. And then I've told them many times, hey, we need to connect the rest of the modules. And they're like, tomorrow. And that hasn't come. So yes, I think that is for co-managed environments or environments where you're just a reseller for them and not an admin. I think that's a great option.
Okay, awesome. Michelle, I have one additional question when we get through all the questions here.
Okay, well, Rich was asking if they have, well, they have access to an MSP testing sandbox for this new GUI.
It's not, it's a very interesting question, because I would love to have MSPs helping us with our testing, because our if you've done any sort of software development, you know that the testing is like highly sandboxed and not really reflective of the real world. So if you are interested in doing that, please contact your account manager and then get in touch with me, because I would love to have, if you're interested, and if I understand this correctly, if you're interested in doing that, I'd love to give you access to our QA environment. Just note that it's QA, right? So things may not work all the time.
Liran, sign me up, please. I'm
Is that
all
Roman?
for it. Yep, it is.
Okay, cool.
I think those are
Okay.
the only questions I see in chat.
So I want to ask my Fortify question here. And I had an email today from a partner, and this partner requested something that I'd never really heard of before. And that request is around, I'm connecting with the wrong account, that's why it's erroring out. That request is around using Fortify, but when you execute a Fortify recommended action, they want to put a shot clock around it. In other words, you execute a Fortify recommended action for Microsoft Tenant, but after you do that, you say it's going to automatically expire in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And I'd never really heard that before. And I want to see if anybody here thinks that would be valuable, or like, what do you guys think about that?
What was the scenario he requested it around? Because I mean, I can understand it's happened to us. We tighten too much an environment and then all hell breaks loose. So I could understand like in a different way, where we would set up an expiration where we have to come and confirm, but not in 30 days. I would say maybe 30 minutes. In case something breaks, we just don't confirm those commands. Because sometimes I personally forget what I did. And then a customer will take a while to remember or report the issue. And I'm like, okay, was it in Intune? Was it in SaaS alerts? What the hell did I do on my side that's breaking something? Or maybe I didn't even do anything. So I could see that kind of scenario, but in a shorter time frame, but not sure what he's trying to accomplish.
Yeah, and I can talk about it a little bit. It was someone that I'm working with. It's basically, he wanted the ability to create custom thresholds. And I think that it didn't just mean 30, 60 days. I think he also was alluding to minutes as well. Just being able to set it, I can't remember in particular what policy it was, but being able to set it in certain thresholds so that it can expire. I don't think it was just days. I think it goes down to minutes and hours as well.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense to me.
Yeah, Liran, I used to do this on Cisco router configs and things when you're messing with BGP or things that could have pretty drastic consequences. And you could set it up to where it would say revert changes in, 5 minutes if it doesn't go well. And then you have the option of committing the change before that 5 minutes reverts it. And it was hugely helpful.
Okay. Thanks, Adam. Anyone else have any want to see us to consider this for Fortify? Okay. Thanks, Michelle. I think I'm good.
Thanks, Liran. Okay, so it's that time where we ask if anyone has any wins of the week. Anyone have anything good happen this week, or anything challenging that you were able to figure out? Or
Can I throw a quick joke in there?
yes,
Back from the day I got a prize that I wasn't paying attention for taking someone from 2 to 72 in a millisecond. I think that would have been perfect because I took him to 72 and basically they couldn't operate. I locked them completely down. So that would have been a great way to put a timer on there just to make the win and then go back.
Well, Enrique, we like to say it's so secure that even your customers can't get in, right?
Yeah. I locked myself out again when I went to NerdioCon.
oh, really? What locked you outside of the location, or?
For some reason, we were on Checkpoint Harmony Connect and the IP is always, since you turn on the Mac, wake it up, it's immediately bind it to your SASE gateway IP address. They moved us over to Perimeter 81 because they wanted us to start testing the features they're adding on there. And Perimeter 81, apparently when you wake up the machine or open it up, the Mac, it'll take a bit to actually bind the IP address. And one of the millions of things my Mac is trying to do, talk to Microsoft and gave it a Dominican Republic IP address. And that was the end of my world till the break last account.
Wow. Oh, it works, right?
I can confirm it works. It's happened multiple times. I don't have a doubt.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. That was a good story. Anyone else have anything exciting or not so exciting? No. All right. Ben, I know you had some stuff that you saw in the news that you're going to share.
Sure.
But you want to share that Discord link one more time?
I've
That's
already
his favorite
shared
thing
it.
to do, I swear.
No, right? That's true. Yeah, so there's a couple of things that I'll share about. Let's see here. I know we were talking about one of our office hours about AI tricking the that company, I think it was in Hong Kong, about to give them was it 25 million or something through AI video deep faking. So looks like I saw in the news today that South Korea police have developed a deep fake detection tool that can apparently detect deep fake videos within like 5 to 10 minutes. I thought that was pretty interesting. So next world stuff. And another thing that I ran into was, I don't know if you guys have seen this or not. Let me see if I can bring up this video screen here. Hang on one second. Got too many windows open. The FBI has released their Internet Crimes Report of 2023. And this includes all the different scams that have hit last year. And I want to show you a couple of things in this report that I found to be very interesting. They break it out by, obviously, phishing being, the number one. We're still winning there. But it also broke it out by age group as well. And we can see the most vulnerable age group. And I wonder if anybody can guess what that might be.
Was vulnerable, you said?
Mm-hmm.
I would say the older folks, probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're correct. With over 100,000 different complaints and losses of over 3.4 billion. Pretty scary stuff.
Yeah.
But even my age group's in there too. They're not exactly, which it's very interesting that between 50 and 59, it drops off pretty significantly. But just something to keep in mind. I also listed the countries with the most complaints. Looks like Canada is nowhere near where we are. And I want to show you one statistic here. So phishing and spoofing still number one. Let's see, but this was very similar to 2022. Investments being a loss of 4.5 billion, but BEC is still running up there. It's actually gained some traction. I think we're up to almost 3 billion. Does surprise anybody?
So these are
But-
complaints, right? So they wouldn't notice.
This is loss.
They wouldn't
Yeah.
notice something like a token hijacking situation, right? Because this is coming from the end users, these complaints, or
No, this is actual like money loss because of
Oh, okay.
BECs. It could have that could have started as a token hijacking as well.
Okay.
But you can also see the ransomware has fallen pretty significantly all the way down to just a mere 59 million.
22 of them from Black Cat.
I was gonna say, anybody see that? So like that hospital, that healthcare system that was ransomware, they paid out
Your
22
healthcare,
million.
yeah.
Yeah,
Crazy.
and it was apparently it fractured the Black Hat group,
Mm.
and there were people in the group said that they didn't get their cut and they
Yeah.
weren't going to release data. And I'm
And they're
thinking the
gonna
whole
pay
time, like,
again.
that's why you don't pay them, especially that much.
Right.
It's funny, Anthony, right there from Nero, he actually went to a doctor's appointment yesterday. He was telling us about the story. And if his insurance, which is United Healthcare, and they're like, oh, we can't process this. So they
Mhm.
literally had to, go back to paper and pencil. They wrote down his card number, and
Yep.
they own some other company, coincidentally, which is working. So they're kind of funneling all the bill payments through that other company for now.
Mhm.
But yeah, they're literally back to paper and pencil, just like when the MGM Grand hack happened. Me and my wife were in Vegas literally a week before it happened, but I've heard, I've seen videos from it. Elevators weren't working, key cards weren't working. It literally wreaks havoc.
It's crazy. Yeah, I took one of my daughters to a doctor's appointment the other day, and the doctor said, "Oh, I'm gonna need her health insurance card again because Blue Cross Blue Shield had a hack, which I hadn't even heard about."
Mhm.
So I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that." And my neighbor across the way, she works for a different healthcare company that has two different it's like Harvard Pilgrim and Tufts. They're two different plans. They had a breach a few months. It took at least 4 months for them to get that straightened out. She couldn't even get her own health insurance bill. I mean, it was a nightmare. And it's
Interesting. If you remember a couple of years ago when Kaseya was hacked on July
Mhm.
4th, a week after, a bunch of other government agencies started going down one by one. And now you have Screen Connect, then you have AT&T going down countrywide, right? And then you have yesterday, Facebook is down, Instagram is down. I don't know.
It's like
Something's
the
going on.
first thing you think
Something's
now.
happening.
Yeah, as soon as something happens, like my husband will say, "Oh, Facebook's down," and then, like the first thing we think now is like, "Oh no, did they get our data and did they get attacked?"
It's big when Facebook has to go to Twitter to announce that Facebook is down.
Maybe Elon Musk is behind it.
He gets mad when we don't say X.
Oh,
I know.
Formerly Twitter, yes.
sorry, Elon.
I will never call it X.
So I do have one. Remember that story I said about the customer that if we would have he would have allowed us to have auto remediation drop off the user, they wouldn't have had the business email compromise that they did.
Yep.
They finally it ended up costing. So after they got into the mailbox and they were able to pull the accounts receivable lady's information, they registered a very similar domain and send out the same emails again. And one of my customer bit and deposited to the other account.
Oh.
So they would have been locked down since day one, like we told them to. They'll get you sooner or later.
Well, they will. I've started getting letters in the mail from like former clients that I work with saying, "Oh, we've had a breach and your data may have been stolen." I mean, these things, I'm getting them more and more all the time, and it's like, oh, wonderful, It's not stopping. It's definitely getting worse. Chad said with the pharmacy attack recently, my girlfriend's prescription that she has insurance covered part of, the rest was covered with manufacturing coupon. They aren't accepting coupons anymore because they don't know if they're legitimate. Oh, $1,600 medication. The coupon was covered. Wow, that's a big hit. Was this from one of these health insurance companies, Chad? One of the recent ones?
No, it's her pharmacy said that they
Pharmacy.
can't run the coupons anymore.
Oh, okay.
However that process works.
Did they get attacked, the pharmacy?
No, but something to do with either the health insurance or
Mhm.
somehow it was affected in the whole process. So she got a few months of samples, so she doesn't have to pay that much.
Will they reimburse her? Because I know that's how my friend's company was handling. They were like, "You pay it, we'll reimburse you once we get everything straightened out 4 months later."
Well, they said if she doesn't get reimbursed, she's on the hook for it. So she just was able to get samples.
Not good.
To the labs or the people that do use Change Healthcare that are affected and can't bill, Change Healthcare or United, whatever, Optimum, whatever the main owner is, came out to them and said, we're going to allow you to pull drafts, temporary free money, which once the system, so we don't affect your cash flow. And once the systems are back up and running, we'll collect anything we have from the actual files. So I think that's more expensive than 22 million, plus another 22 they're going to have to pay. But
Absolutely.
Well, as you go down the report, we do, it does show the increase from previous years too. Now, definitely check this guy out. I'm proud to say I'm only at number 12.
are we the dumbest in Texas?
We're at 17, that's what, not great.
We need to work hard at being number one, man.
I'm surprised that New York is not number 2 or number 1 at this point. This
Yeah.
wow, 4.
Come on, guys. You gotta get with it here. No, but I thought you guys would enjoy seeing this.
To Rich's point, yeah, we do see a bunch of payroll changes. Hey, my bank account changed, but good thing the HR people kind of catch it. Some of them we catch, some of them they get, because sometimes it's just ridiculous. CEO at something blah blah blah.com, and people fall for it. It's the fear. You're scared so much not to do something, especially when it's coming from CEO of a global company, that you just kind of do it without question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know my first week at SaaS Alerts, I got an email from somebody pretending to be Jim asking about my mobile number and everything. I'm like, that didn't take any time at all.
Yeah, I got one. I think it was a text. Yeah, I got a text while I was on vacation, and it was like, "Hey, Michelle, are you available?" And it was signed Jim Lippy, and I was like, "Well, A of all, I know this is not his phone number. I have his phone number. B of all, he doesn't sign his text." Yeah.
Who signs their text?
And C of all, he knows I'm on vacation, and he should not be bothering me. So, but yeah, it's like we do testing here, and the one time I fell for something, fortunately it was a test, was a LinkedIn one, and it was somebody like some reporter or writer or something wanted to connect with me, and I was on my phone, I was like trying to make dinner, I was very, it wasn't even during business hours, and I just, oh, okay, I'll see who it is, and I clicked on it. So even if people think they know what to look for, it's like if you're busy and you're doing stuff and just sometimes you're just clicking away.
So we have a security committee at SaaS Alerts, and one of the things that we've started talking about is starting to deploy and employ human two-factor authentication. So what that means is if I ask Michelle to do something potentially shady, Michelle will ask me a potentially harmless sounding question like, "Oh, Liran, what's the weather in your neck of the woods?" And that's like a code, and I have to answer it properly. And if I don't answer it properly, then Michelle is not going to do that sensitive thing. So because with the deep fakes and stuff that Ben talked about, it's only a matter of time until somebody can really impersonate you quite well and make those days of bad grammar are starting to go away with AI. And once that deep fake video generation stuff really gets going, it's going to make things a lot harder and we're going to start seeing these numbers continue to increase.
You also just use on a password manager, use a shared password for each different department that auto rotates or something. And that way, obviously you have to make it easy to read out. You don't want to have to read out 64 bits there. Like for very sensitive things, we'll use a password manager. Well, we use a password manager for everything, but then I do what I call it a blind password. So at the end of the password, I'll add a couple of digits to it that are in my hard drive. So I think I can still remember a couple of digits.
But I want to answer a question that Chad posed about what security checks do we implement. So we've passed our type 2 SOC 2 and are now in the process of passing ISO 27001. But we scan our code for library vulnerabilities, code vulnerabilities, environmental vulnerabilities, and it's a continuing process. We use a key vault manager so that access to keys is very, very highly restricted, but you guys know, right? Cybersecurity is a practice. It is an ongoing process. We continue to always look for ways to lock things down as much as possible.
And here's a little bit of good news. This BEC scammer was found guilty. And
Is this the Nigerian prince? Did they finally catch him?
they finally got him. He was sentenced to 18 months in prison and $46,000 fine and $1 million in restitution. Honestly, I can't imagine this ever being paid. So yeah, we caught one guy. Oh, too funny.
Wow.
That's all I got. That's all the good news and bad news I have for today.
So quick question, while you all were looking at the UI earlier, on the main page, that top section, that's always fixed there, 5 questions or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be impossible to have an option to say hide it?
No, not impossible. Nothing is
Well, I
impossible.
know not impossible, would you be willing to do something about it?
You don't like to seeing the setup and updates in the release notes section? Is that what you're saying?
But it takes up too much space, especially when you're limited on real estate on 100 inches, you just don't. I mean,
Is-
maybe let us snip it somewhere else, or,
Is that because you want to see the map fully blown out?
well, I had to go, so I'm using the map fully blown out via, after I requested, and I was told, no, I'm using it through the risk dashboard. That's the one I have up and running all the time.
Okay. We could look at minimizing those charts for you so they take up a lot less space.
And
I think
also
we
kind of to piggyback on that request, just because of my OCD, you know how you have when you get automatically logged down and you log back in, there's like this blue message saying you've been logged out because of inactivity.
Mm-hmm.
Can you do the same timer as you have for the other one, the green one? It kind of times out in 30 seconds and it disappears. Because I end up having like 4 of them that I kind of have to X out. Also, nothing to do with productivity, just me.
Okay. Yeah, can look at that.
We had one partner that would like to have that map like on a TV, like at their help desk to see like things that are happening.
That's what it's designed for. You can go full screen on it. There's a button in the top right, and then you can just put that on your TV or whatever.
Will it expire like with this when you like are logins?
I see.
It
There you
will.
go.
I found a workaround for that. If you Chrome or any other, you get a browser extension that refreshes the page. So I refresh the page every like minute
Good idea.
automatically, and it does not expire at all.
Okay.
Wait,
You can lock
Enrique,
in.
you have that? Was that Enrique? Was that on your screen? Because I saw that.
I have it down there together with a whole bunch of other stuff, but
Mhm.
I just put it on the full screen. I tried, they gave me some weird stuff to do some code or something, and I'm like, no, guys, that's way above my pay grade.
Whoa.
So I
That
just
looks
used the
awesome.
risk dashboard. And
Oh, it looks pretty impressive on that big screen, though.
Well, that's pretty neat. I'll have to suggest that extension though.
sorry. I'm doing it every 15 minutes on most sites to keep.
Okay. It's a
I
good
use
idea.
authentication, so when it logs out, I'm like, oh my goodness, no. I feel like auto remediation kicked in to get back in. So,
Very cool. Learned something new. Awesome. Thank you.
Rich wants to know the name of the extension.
it is called Auto Refresh Plus.
You guys are reading the privacy policy on those, obviously.
Of course.
Of course.
Line 259,100 says they have all your data.
Just put it in Chat GPT and tell it to look for any sort of suspicious legalese.
Funny. So speaking of ChatGPT, I think we use Box for enterprise storage, and Box just released their own AI-like tools, and they shot us an email, and we emailed all of our customers. And it's funny, a lot of customers are actually declining to integrate Box with the AI tools because of PII and all the other line of business, private stuff. So it's interesting how, yes, it's great technology helping people, but everyone is afraid of privacy of, they have so many patents out for certain things, and they have, IP, and they just don't know how all that info that will now be ingested from their documents that are, for private eyes only, so to say, will be ingested by that AI, and where will it go? So we thought that everybody's going to be like, oh yeah, cool, because it does make life easier. But now everybody's kind of saying, hey, you know what? Let's wait until this becomes more clear, and we figure out where this data actually goes and who gets to read this thing, and what's going on. So that was a fun exercise that we went through yesterday.
What else? Anyone else have anything to share?
Mhm. I'm all good, Michelle.
You're all good?
Yeah, I'm all good.
You're all good? Okay. Anyone on the partner side have anything?
Liran, any updates on the Google Workspace respond module?
Yeah, the work is ongoing right now. It's going to take us some time to get done. I would estimate Q2 for that.
Is there going to be kind of feature parity, or are there some big differences with what you have access to?
Amanda, do you mind speaking up on this since it's your
Yeah.
product and you've done the research?
Yeah, nope, it's pretty much equal parity. Off the top of my head, I want to say there's one item we can't do and I won't remember it, but other than that, all the same actions are available. So it should work the same way the Microsoft works. I think it's I think we can't enforce MFA off the top of my head is like the one limitation with Google.
It's okay, I can do that on the back end.
Okay. But everything else, yeah, is one for one, just like the Microsoft.
Cool.
Any other burning questions? This is your time. If there's anything you guys, want to know, want to say. We have.
Any new exciting stuff coming out besides the new exciting stuff that's coming out?
I think the two biggest things in Q1 are fortified templates and the Microsoft reconnection UI. Hopefully it's going to lead to a stronger, more stable connection, less time to do the connection. And I'll talk to Jim about doing like a roadmap SASE call. I'm not sure how much of the roadmap I'm supposed to share.
Besides Rocket Cyber, guys, I know we personally use Rocket Cyber as our SOC, and personally not for long, seems like with the way they've been going. But do you integrate with any other SOC, or do you plan to integrate with Huntress, for example? Because that's who we're looking to go to next.
Is that a later on question?
Yeah.
It's definitely not for me.
I think we review, right, every single integration that people ask us to do. We weigh how it is going to affect our community, how helpful it is going to be for the entire community as a whole. The Huntress integration specifically is a bit tricky for us because they are a
I mean,
competitor.
they do the same thing. I get it. Yeah. Well,
Exactly right.
so Rocket Cyber is supposed to be competitor, but they're nowhere near. So yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
now makes perfect sense. And again, they have that module which we're not getting because we have you guys, right? So that makes no sense. We only want them for the endpoint protection piece.
What would you consider to be an integration to Huntress? What would that look like? Again, you know, being that they're moving in and trying to do what we do.
Well, the way we have
Unlikely,
it
but
set
how
up,
would you see that working?
the way it is now with Rocket Cyber is their 365 integration. I mean, it's there, but they kind of pay no attention to it. It's very late. You guys are sometimes hours ahead of getting information to us than them. So right now, you kind of take in all the alerts and giving it to Rocket Cyber, and they're supposed to review it, correlate it with anything they see on the endpoints, and then make the call whether or not to either isolate the endpoint or to call us. They are not
Sure.
really doing it. So I was wondering if you could do the same for Huntress, where you would kind of give all the alerts to them on the endpoint protection side. So they could kind of correlate that with whatever they're seeing on the endpoints without us
Mhm.
going for their 365 module, which kind of is your competitor.
Right. So
But again, I can
Rocket
see
Cyber,
the business side of it from your end. Why would you do that, right?
yeah, the Rocket Cyber integration was actually them consuming our API.
Right.
We actually didn't lead that integration. That was
Oh,
them.
okay.
That
Oh, I see. Okay.
So I mean, in all honesty, I guess, you know, anybody on the planet could do that.
Mhm.
It's just a matter of somebody wanting to and willing to. And I could understand on their side as well, not wanting to.
Well, I mean, again, they're supposed to kind of do this as well. It's funny because they have access to the same APIs. You know, just like me logging in with a global admin, I'm logging into global admin there. I'm clicking on all the permissions. They're technically setting up all the same connections, but it just doesn't work. One and two, the people there, and I'm not going to get into it, but they have their whole other problems with the way they train their staff. That also doesn't work. So I'm looking at it right away, and you guys are sending them alerts. There are a bunch of alerts, and they're supposed to be calling us for those alerts, and they're not. Yeah. So, and also the way they do their notifications is kind of crappy. But all right, that's fine. No further questions.
Hey, Roman, I don't know if you noticed, but you can probably, I think you can pull most all of our alerts from the API too. If I'm not mistaken, Liran, is that correct?
Yep, that's true.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. No, I definitely saw that. I
Yeah, so
definitely saw that. You
if
know,
there
there's
was a SOC platform that wanted to integrate with us, it wouldn't be a hard thing for them to do.
okay.
So
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that internally you're probably going to go away from Rocket Cyber because for the past couple of years we've been with them, they're just not have been delivering on what they promised. So
sure, understand. Adam, I do have a question for you that Rich had. He asked if the multi-user mapping for a PC is coming out for Unify.
Yes, sir. That issue is logged. It is number 1 in my backlog.
Oh, very nice.
And looking forward to getting started on that very, very soon. It'll be a crawl, walk, run type of thing, but definitely coming and super excited about it.
Oh, awesome. Excellent.
You guys have a philosophy at all on shadow IT? Because all of this solution is focused on properly managed accounts, including those other third parties that you're adding. But is there any value, do you think, to you don't want to put an agent on endpoints, but I don't see a way around that, but to check for people sidestepping and signing up for things with like personal accounts?
I think,
I can take a stab at that if you want.
yeah, Adam, go. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, without a local agent, it's really hard to give us the visibility into the true shadow apps, as you pointed out. I am really interested in trying to find a way to integrate into the RMMs or some of the other tools that maybe y'all are utilizing to get us access to that data, to kind of fill in that blind spot that we have because there is no agent. But I have not seen it yet. So if anybody has a tool that they love and would like an integration, that would be a great thing to tell your account manager about, and then we can run it down.
SaaS Leo is the one that I'm currently using, which is now called Auvik SaaS Management. Auvik bought them. If you wanted an introduction, I can give you one. But there's also one called Augment with 2 T's. And I've heard of some other ones, but they're not really multi-tenant friendly, I guess, like Grip Security. And there's also Nudge, but I feel
Yeah,
like
I've seen
Nudge
Nudge.
is one of your competitors in a way. And I don't know, these are just ones that I haven't tested. Obviously, like without a local agent, then they're not doing the same. They're not doing what I'm talking about. But the Auvik SaaS management is probably at a point where they'd be interested in maybe working with and adding functionality, but I don't
Yeah,
know. I don't know
If
how
you know
would
somebody
say it.
over there, I'm all about an introduction. Never hurts
Yeah,
to
I
talk to
just
people.
talked
Yep.
to their product officer, who was like the founder before it was purchased. Trying to hammer out because I have some weird use cases. Like I don't want to capture every user because I'm working with school districts and I'm also working with franchisor, and I'm only monitoring their corporate employees. I'm not worried about their franchisees that they give accounts to. So I have 2 interesting use cases that they didn't really build the solution for. So I'm kind of working with them already on that, but I could mention it. I don't know if you would want to pull their data into SaaS alerts. I'm guessing that's probably how you'd want to do it. Or
Yeah,
if
I usually like to have it coming towards us rather than it leaving us. But that's to be determined. If you want to make that introduction, I'd be happy to talk to them.
Sure, yeah, I can do that. What's
Yeah,
your email address?
It's adam@saasalerts.com.
Okay, that's difficult. I don't know if I'll remember.
Yeah, I was gonna say we also have a good relationship with Ninja RMM as well. So if you wanna, maybe we could try something there. Supposedly they have an open-ish API. So, and also if you want to integrate something with the fields, I mean, it's very easy to get up into Ninja fields, just like with that Entra ID.
I wonder
So
if
yeah.
Intune would
almost
report that.
anything really, I could get into the fields, and I kind of got really creative with the way we do things with those custom fields. But yeah, I mean, any newly installed software could go in there, and if you could grab that from the field, that would, I guess, work, right?
I wonder if Intune would report any of that sort of thing. It would be something that would probably have to interface with the browser itself. I believe that's how Augment does it with their agent that lives on the machine.
Yeah, the agent is for the Auvik solution. There's a actual standalone agent that's going to pull all the data in from even like local applications, because it'll pull up if you're using whatever local Word or Notepad or Notepad or whatever. It'll pull all that in. You can see those and how much time someone's spending using them and like when they use them. But really, for finding all the other accounts, it uses a browser extension, which goes back in time too through the browser history. So it pulls in everything before you started
That's
out too.
interesting. Okay.
Yeah, because I've looked at Nudge, and I don't think that we're necessarily competitors. I would love to do something similar to what they do, and that just checks for existing permissions for enterprise applications, and will tell you who loaded them when the last time it was loaded. I would love to see us do a very similar report.
If you can do it cheaper than them, I'm all in, because they were pretty expensive for what they did, and they're living much space.
All right, well, we are at the top of the hour. Anybody has anything else they want to get out there?
Well, that was helpful.
Otherwise,
Sorry.
we can wrap up for the week. Next week, our regularly scheduled folks will be back. But thanks for tuning in this week, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. We'll see you next week.
Perfect. Thanks,
All right,
everybody.
Thank
Hi,
you.
guys. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Bye, guys.